Hello friends, today we will discuss sphenoid bone. Okay, you can see this is the sphenoid bone. Sphenoid word is derived from Greek word that is sphen, that means a wedge. Why this bone is derived from the sphen? Because this is wedged between the frontal bone anteriorly and occipital bone posteriorly. Okay, that's why this is known as sphenoid bone. Okay, now first of all, its anatomical position. We should know anatomical position of each and every bone whenever we are going to discuss any of the bone. Okay, so in this bone, the hypophyseal fossa, you can see in this bone here there is a hypophyseal fossa. The hypophyseal fossa always should be facing upward. The pterygoid process. Now I am showing you the pterygoid process. These are the pterygoid process. Okay, these pterygoid processes should be always faces inferiorly. Okay, they should faces inferiorly, and there are two sinuses. These are the sphenoidal air sinuses. These are the sphenoidal air sinuses. So the sphenoidal air sinuses should be always facing anteriorly. So hypophyseal fossa superiorly, pterygoid processes inferiorly, and these sphenoidal air sinuses they faces anteriorly. After its anatomical position, we should know about the articulation of this bone. This bone is articulated with yet another bone. We can see in this skull, this bone here, you can see this is the sphenoid bone. Anteriorly it articulates with frontal bone, laterally it articulates with the parietal bone, and after that temporal bone, zygomatic bone, palatine bone, it articulates with palatine bone, after that vomer bone, and ethmoid bone, cribriform plate of ethmoid bone. So this bone is articulates with frontal bone, parietal bone, temporal bone, occipital bone posteriorly, vomer bone, zygomatic bone, palatine bone, and ethmoid bone. Now shape, you can see this bone resembles with the bat with outstretched wings. Okay, so shape is like a bat with outstretched wing. Now its features, this bone has a body, cubical body. Okay, after that body has 6 surfaces. One is superior surface, one is inferior surface, one is anterior surface where there are 2 sphenoidal air sinuses are present. One is posterior surface. With this posterior surface, this bone articulates with occipital bone, and 2 lateral surfaces where there are carotid sulcus are present. Okay, one by one we will discuss its body. First of all, superior surface of its body. You can see here this is a superior surface. In the superior surface, most anteriorly there is a jugum sphenoidale. Okay, jugum, superior surface of body. We are discussing the superior surface of body. On the superior surface of body, from anterior to posterior, different features are present. Most anteriorly there is a jugum sphenoidale. Jugum sphenoidale articulates with the cribriform plate of ethmoid bone anteriorly. Okay, posterior to the jugum sphenoidale there is a linear depression. You can see here there is a linear depression that is known as sulcus chiasmatis. This sulcus chiasmatis laterally opens into a canal on either side known as optic canal. Okay, this sulcus chiasmatis is named as a sulcus chiasmatis because superior to this there is a optic chiasma present. That's why this sulcus is known as sulcus chiasmatis. But I repeat, this sulcus chiasmatis does not give any attachment. This sulcus chiasmatis is just inferior to the optic chiasma, and lateral extension, or you can say laterally, the sulcus chiasmatis opens into optic canal. The contents of optic canal are optic nerve and ophthalmic artery and meninges. Posterior to the sulcus chiasmatis there is a linear, you can say this is a depression. Posterior to depression there is a elevation. The linear elevation is known as tuberculum sali. Tuberculum sali. Now lateral extension of the tuberculum sali are known as the middle clinoid process. I repeat, the tuberculum sali, that is a just posterior to the sulcus chiasmatis, and the lateral extension of the tuberculum sali are known as the middle clinoid process. Posterior to the tuberculum sali there is a deep depression or deep fossa known as sella turcica. Sella turcica is the pituitary fossa. This is also the deepest part is the sella turcica is known as hypophyseal fossa. In the hypophyseal fossa the pituitary gland rests. Okay, and posterior to the hypophyseal fossa there is a squarish shaped plate, a bone known as dorsum sali. Okay, dorsum sali. Now the lateral extension of the dorsum sali are known as posterior clinoid process. So lateral extension of tuberculum sali is known as middle clinoid process, and the lateral extension of dorsum sali are known as posterior clinoid process. Now we will discuss the attachments on the superior surface of body of sphenoid. From anterior to posterior, you can see this is the jugum sphenoidal. Jugum sphenoidal anteriorly articulates with the cribriform plate of ethmoid bone. Okay. Now laterally the jugum sphenoidal converted into a lesser wing of sphenoid. You can see this is lesser wing of sphenoid on either side. Jugum sphenoidal can be converted into a lesser wing of sphenoidal. Okay, and the lesser wing of sphenoidal posteromedially given extension. This is the extension. This extension is actually known as anterior clinoid process. So now we are knowing about the three kind of processes. Anterior clinoid process, they are the posterior extension of lesser wing of sphenoid. Middle clinoid process, they are the lateral extension of tuberculum sali, and the posterior clinoid process, they are the lateral extension of dorsum sali. Okay, now from anterior to posterior, jugum sphenoidal anteriorly articulates with the cribriform plate of ethmoid bone. Posterior to this there is a middle clinoid anterior clinoid process. Anterior clinoid process, that is a medial and posteromedial extension of the lesser wing of sphenoid. This anterior clinoid process gives attachment to free margin of tentorium cerebelli. Free margin of tentorium cerebelli. Now middle clinoid process, that is a lateral extension of tuberculum sali. This gives attachment to anterior attachment of diaphragma sali. Okay, diaphragma sali, anterior attachment of diaphragma sali takes attachment on the middle clinoid process. Now the lateral extension of the dorsum sali, that forms the posterior clinoid process. The posterior clinoid process gives attachment to attached margin of tentorium cerebelli. So anterior clinoid process gives attachment to free margin of tentorium cerebelli. Middle clinoid process gives attachment to diaphragma sali, and lateral most extension of the dorsum celli that gives attachment to attached margin of tentorium cerebelli. Okay. Now, between these three clinoid process, there is a ligament known as interclinoidal ligament. That ligament is known as interclinoidal ligament. Between this ligament, the carotid artery, upward root of carotid artery, internal carotid artery, comes out and forms a circle of Willis. Okay. Now come to the posterior surface. You can see this is the posterior surface. This is rough surface. Okay. The posterior surface of the body of sphenoid articulates with the basilar part of occipital bone and forms a clivus. Clivus is a sloping structure. Okay. So the posterior surface of the body of sphenoid, which is rough in texture, this articulates with the basilar part of occipital bone and forms a clivus. You can see in the skull, this is the clivus. This is the sloping structure, this is clivus. Okay. Now, after that, we will discuss the anterior surface. This is the superior surface. After that, anterior and inferior surface. In this bone, you can see these are the two air-filled sinuses. They are sphenoidal air sinuses, and the partition line between the two sphenoidal sinus is not a symmetrical. You can see this partition line is going somewhat on the right side. So both the sphenoidal sinus, they are not symmetrical, they are asymmetrical. Okay. In anterior surface, there are thin bony plates are present. They are known as the sphenoidal concha. They are not present here. Okay. On the inferior aspect, you can see on the inferior aspect of the sphenoid bone, this is the inferior surface. Just at the junction of midline of the anterior surface and midline of the inferior surface, on the anterior side, there is a bony projection known as rostrum of sphenoid. This is the very important thing, rostrum of sphenoid. This is the rostrum of sphenoid, and the rostrum of sphenoid forms a joint with the groove present below it. That is they are the ala of vomer. So between the two ala of vomer, there is this rostrum goes and articulates and forms a joint that is known as syndialysis type of joint. Syndialysis type of joint, that joint is known as a syndialysis joint. Okay. So the syndialysis joint present between the rostrum of sphenoid and a groove between the two ala of vomer bone. Okay. Now, after that, we will discuss the lateral surface. Lateral surface, one is here, another is here. There are two lateral surfaces. On the lateral surface, there is a groove from anterior to posterior side. There is a sulcus. This sulcus is known as carotid sulcus. In this sulcus, the internal carotid artery rests, or internal carotid artery take its path in the lateral sulcus, and near to its there is a very important structure, that is a cavernous sinus. Cavernous sinus and the internal carotid artery, they are the content. You can see, you can say that they are the content of the lateral sulcus of body of sphenoid bone. Okay. Now come to the the posterior most part. Now this lateral sulcus most posteriorly, this lateral sulcus forms a backward extension known as lingula. Very important thing, this is lingula. You can see this is lingula, posterior extension of lateral sulcus on either side. Here You can see this is lingula. Lingula is a structure which is present just above a opening that is known as posterior opening of pterygoid canal. This is the posterior opening of pterygoid canal. Anteriorly, the opening of pterygoid canal opens into the pterygopalatine fossa, okay, or sphenopalatine fossa. So posterior opening of the pterygoid canal is found just below the bony extension that is formed on the most posterior aspect of the lateral sulcus of body of sphenoid. This extension is known as lingula. Okay, now come to the something about the sphenoidal air sinuses. The sphenoidal air sinuses has some relations. You can see superiorly they are related with the optic chiasma, जो हम यहाँ पर हमने देखा था कि ऑप्टिक chiasma कहाँ पर पाया जाता है, सल्कस chiasmatis के ऊपर. तो ऑप्टिक chiasma superior in the superior relation of this sphenoidal air sinus and pituitary fossa or sella turcica. They are present superior to the sphenoidal air sinus. Now laterally, lateral to this there is a sulcus, carotid sulcus. So internal carotid artery and cavernous sinus present in its lateral relation. Now the size of the each sphenoidal air sinus is approximately 2 cm. Vertical height 2 cm, approximately transverse breadth 2 cm, and antero-posterior diameter is also 2 cm. Okay, each of the sphenoidal air sinus opens into sphenoethmoidal recess. Sphenoethmoidal recess. Now something about the development of this bone. Sphenoidal sinus. Now sphenoidal sinus का development देख लेते हैं. The sphenoidal sinuses starts developing as a nasal mucosal evagination during intrauterine life. Okay, these are in the form of minute cavity at birth, and it develops to its adult size in adolescent stage. Okay, now this is all about the body of sphenoid. In the next topic we will discuss the greater wing and lesser wing of sphenoid. Thank you.